Good morning, it's me again, getting ready for a new day. Life is really confusing at the moment, but I've gotten a hold, they've been able to get my appointments set up, and they might be able to use my old records to get me on ABD, which is it's Aged, Blind, and Disabled, and it's a program that we have in Washington State. I don't know if other states have it. They probably do, but they might call it something else because, just make it more complicated. Um, but anyway, I finally got that stuff going, and they might be able to use my old records, especially from the spinal injury, because that's not going to heal. I don't care how many times they tell me it's going to heal. It's not. It's just not. But I can get once I get my doctor's appointment um, done with the new doctor, I can probably get X-rays um, or whatever they need to do to find out if it's healing or not. And I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that it's worse because I have fallen a couple of times since it happened. Probably. I don't know if you heard my daughter. She came up and the cats were doing something. They probably looked at her funny. She's like, "I'm sorry, am I interrupting something?" So I told her probably. Yeah, yeah, and the sale is going pretty fine. There was a mix up with the percentage on the first day and we fixed it. And so now the other 2 days that's been so far um have been decent. I mean, the economy is absolute garbage right now, so I'm not expecting people to buy like everything. But with the sale I'm doing, it's 50% off. Somebody bought all my cat butts, so Shania told me to make up like 9 of them, which I already had a few made up. So I got 3 tagged for the ones that sold. I got 5 finished, and if I finish another set, then I'll have 6, which will make a total of 9. So if I tag those up, um, then I'll have 9. And I'm thinking about like, would there's some things that I'm not gonna make anymore. So once they're gone, they're gone. Um, they're not selling very well, and they're super cute, but for some reason people just aren't interested in them right now. So I might do a thing like where if I've done this before. Selling crafts is interesting because you got to keep it fresh. Um, so certain projects are universal, like my Hello Kitties. Um, that's never gonna get old. Um, but I do have to change up the colors, and I do have to make sure they're looking different so that people do understand that that's a different doll. It's not the same one. I can do 15 or 20 that are pink and red at Valentine's Day, but I usually don't sell that many. So, um, and then also you have the issue like with my baby Yodas. I've got tons of those things. They were so popular when I first moved here. Now people don't really seem to care. So probably gonna not work on that at least for a while, and let's see if maybe they get popular again. Um, and yes, I know his name is Grogu. um, or Grogu. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how to spell it. It's a weird name. Yeah, I have a hard time with spelling because I'm dyslexic and I can't remember words. Like the other day, I was writing a response to somebody and I couldn't figure out how to spell awkward, so I just took that off. But the spell check wasn't even trying to help. Spell check is not set up for dyslexics. It's just set up to catch when you misspell a word. But dyslexics have very specific patterns in how we misspell words. So, what's why it's dyslexia? Because you using flipped letters, or sometimes whole sections are flipped. Um, okay, and and that's like, or you'll spell it phonetically. So awkward sounds to me like it would be an O, and it's probably an A. I realized that later. It's probably spelled with an A, and that's probably why it wasn't. Whatever. But but anyways, the sales are going good. I've got booth cost. I'm very close to guaranteeing that I'm getting a check, and I'm hoping that the next week, because it's going on for another whole week. Um, this first weekend they had an event in the parking lot, and that may have taken some sales away from me, but that's fine. Um, because it brought people to the store, and they'll come back. They may come back. So I don't know who bought the cat butts, but I'm gonna put a nice selection while they're still on sale and see if people buy them. And I do have them right here. So this is a, to show them off. This one is a Christmas, very, very Christmassy looking one. I got this really cool old dark green from one of the other vendors, and it's got like gold, sparkly, what is it called? Lame stuff in it, so that the green is sparkly, and then I use like red and a shiny white and a lighter shiny green. It's a more modern variegate from Hirschner's. Um, and this looks really nice. It's amazingly Christmassy. I may have to see if I can find some more this really Christmassy yarn to do more of these. I may not be able to get the old stuff because like the vendor that I got the yarn from does get a lot of old stuff, but I don't have a lot of guarantee because I told my daughter that if she picks up some more yarn for me, she should look to see if they have something called Circus Print, because that was the bomb and you can't find it anymore for some reason. And then somebody told me they still make it, but where is it? I don't know. And then here's another one that we got from the other vendor. It's a, they call it Fiesta, and it has this is a raspberry pink with this like thicker strip through it that's kind of shiny, but it has different colors. Like it's like a white with I think it's green and purple and blue, just kind of popping it off. And I used coral for the little bum and the nose. This little cat but's so cute. And then I got like that white, I think it's off-white, and that light shiny green. These are sets of 4. So they usually sell for around $5, but right now they're on sale for $2.50 at Amy's Joe's Emporium, so you can get yourself over there. I know a lot of you probably aren't in Spokane because this is like the internet, but yeah, if you can't get to my booth, support your local crafters. And then this one is Christmas, or not Christmas, this is a 4th of July variegated. It's an old sale. My daughter, that we also got from the other vendor, and I did it with a gray for the whiskers and red, a different, slightly different color red, so it may not be showing up very well, and that light green. And my son-in-law's sister gave me this gorgeous coral color, and I've got a lighter coral for the nose and bum, and I've got whiskers, and I think it's the off-white and the green, and then this last one is just a bright yellow that I found that I had, and I don't really remember buying it, and so I just made this up, and it's got like a little peach bum and nose with white whiskers and that same green. So I'm definitely having fun with these guys, and I think people are going to want to buy them now that they're on sale for like $2.50. Cheap, cheap, cheap. It's just a scrap yarn project. And I get old yarn, and yes, I do accept people's yarn if people are getting rid of yarn and they don't know what to do with it. That was actually something that I wanted to do with my booth, or my disc, is that if I get to a certain point where I can actually do more stuff with disabled people and maybe get some kind of program going on, I might start collecting like crafting supplies or, things like that. Of course, I'm not there, so that I can like be, so I can be all like, yeah, let's get together and do stuff, and maybe we can have like either our own vendors type thing or a flea market type thing, or we can have like a nice booth at a flea market thing, like a vendor emporium, or maybe there's a couple of them in town. There's two. I should finish my first thought. There's two of them that are related to each other. It's the Greater Northwest Vendor Mall and Famous Joe's Vendor Mall. I'm not sure which one's older, but who cares? It's the same people. And then you've got like 3 or 4 of them somewhere in Spokane that are not related. So no matter where I'm at, I'm going to be within getting to distance of a vendor mall, of some kind of flea market or vendor mall. So yeah, the washer. Sorry about that. Gotta have clean clothes. And yeah, so I got distracted. So that's one of the things I want to do. I want to make this a disability friendly community, online community, and then if I can get to a certain point, I can do like an actual physical community or that's disability friendly, and that does mean supporting the people who are taking care of persons with disabilities, because some persons with disabilities, as we know, are way more disabled than other persons with disabilities. Some people with disabilities you barely notice, and it's great that somebody who doesn't function the way other people do can be basically normal. And I do find that people's misgivings or misconceptions, maybe, about what constitutes certain disabilities gets in the way with people like my son being able to be successful because he's autistic and people assume that he slams his head into the wall, which he doesn't. That's a stereotype. I don't know where that came from. There are kids with autism that slam their head into the wall, but so maybe that's where it came from. But Eli's not that disabled. Those kids oftenly have like low or no IQ, and that's why they're slamming their head into the wall because they're trying to stimulate themselves. They're just smart enough to know that they're not stimulated, but they're not really smart enough to understand that you hurt yourself if you slam your head into the wall. And those kids, they definitely need more care. And that's something that, and I call them kids, even though I know a lot of there's adults like that, because they're just never gonna grow and mature in the same way that most everybody else does. So they're basically just a giant toddler for the rest of their lives. So they're gonna need care. They're gonna need a lot of help. I like to be able to have a community that's supportive of people in that situation, and as well as people who are actually dealing with various disabilities. I feel like it took me forever, but it feels like I'm starting to do that. I seem to have made a friend on this site, and I like that because it was really nice to have a conversation. My brain wasn't working properly, so I wasn't really responding. I wasn't asking him questions, so maybe my brain will work better. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I think it's the stress of the current living situation. My brain just can't work properly at the moment. Hopefully, though, with all the stuff that's going on, they can just, yeah, I can just get these programs on. Maybe I can get disability, and I can at least be able to see if I can get better. But that's what disability is for at somebody at my point. Just to see if we can get better. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I don't think I'm going to. But yeah, it's hard to know. It's really hard to know what's going on with some things. But then, like, there are other people who have disabilities, like my son, who just definitely no getting over it. Though he does mature, they are maturing. The kids are maturing. It's just not enough. I am concerned that if I leave, that Eli might start getting the brunt of the roommate's bullshit. But I I am gonna talk to them about that situation and see if they can actually help me. With that, they might be able to give me a 2-bedroom apartment, and then I'd have like a spare room. And then if something did happen, then Eli could move into the spare room, and then figure it out from there. And I am planning on taking my cute little Gigi with me because roommate wants to move his mother in, and she doesn't like him. Because he's black, and only because he's black. He's the sweetest little kitty in the world. He's a Siamese Bombay mix. He just wants to be loved and cuddled, and he just purrs and snuggles. He has these weird behaviors, but it probably is because he was an abuse rescue, and he's 9 years old. I don't know how well he was cared for before I got him. He was already like 4 when I got him, so I don't know what was going on with his care and his situation in the 4 years before I got it. It was obviously abusive, but other than that, I don't know. So I don't want to think about it, but one of my friends just lost their cat. He was the same age, but I think George Kitty was sickly, and I don't think Gigi is, other than having arthritis because he's obviously been kicked. But yeah, that's a thing. But anyways, I'm planning on taking him with me when I move out because I don't want them to. I don't want to leave. If I can't get Eli out too, then I want to leave Gigi with the cat. I mean, Gigi with Logan's mother because she will hurt him. She's a very angry. He and his mother are basically the same personality. It looks like low IQ schizophrenia. That's not an official diagnosis. I'm just saying that I've noticed with schizophrenics, a higher IQ schizophrenic is going to be able to understand maybe something's wrong, but a lower IQ schizophrenic, that's just fucking scary. They don't know what's really going on. Logan has actually stated that the video games, these violent, horrifying video games and movies that he watches are reality. And this is just a dream he has to get through. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's a really schizophrenic statement. But there's also a lot of signs of alcoholism, drug abuse, which is bad. And especially if they do have the low IQ schizophrenia, that's super bad. I don't know what to do about that, but I can't do anything about that until I'm out of here because I can't really say too much about that. About some of the stuff that they've been saying and doing, because I could end up getting put in a mental institution, which my daughter was actually threatening to do again last night. I don't know why they keep doing this. I don't have any symptoms that are consistent with actually being psychotic. And even if they did manage to get me into an institution, they'd monitor me for like a few hours, and then they'd probably let me go and then lock up her. She might even be charged with falsifying or false reporting or false something or abuse of the system, or can't remember. There's so many different these little side crime things are like this. Just it adds up. But yeah, I'm trying to get out of here. I don't know. She's under a lot of stress, and her symptoms act up. There's always something going on with Logan which stresses her out. Then there seems to be a lot of money issues right now, but with John just getting the car, that kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know what the previous money issue was. I think that had to do with Logan. But I don't know for sure because they're not telling me anything. They don't tell me shit. They expect me to just know what's going on. They don't tell me anything. So, yeah. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be upbeat. Oh yeah, I was gonna joke around about what I would call my community. I was thinking about calling, if I do manage to get a physical community, I probably won't be my own town, because, yeah, that's complicated, and I don't know how to do that. But maybe, like, if I just get, like, a little community, like a trailer park or something, called it, like, weird, I was teasing about it being Weirdy McWeirdton's Mobile Estates, but maybe not really, because I don't know if people would actually like that. But yeah. Um Oh yeah, and the other thing that I wouldn't mind trying to set up would be like a fully inclusive rehab program, because one of the things that I've noticed about the way, especially here in Washington State, that they treat addiction is they simply treat your current addiction and they don't address any of the reasons why you're an addict. So they get you clean and send you right back out homeless in the streets with the drugs going on all around you. So people fail, the rehabs fail. If the rehabs were set up so that they'd actually be a supportive service and not just, okay, we're getting you off drugs, bye. Yeah, and I've heard stories like they give meth addicts the same time frame that they give alcoholics, which is ridiculous because you can beat alcoholism in 6 weeks. You can't beat meth without a hospital stay, and it can often take a year before the cravings go away. And you often need counseling, and there's often some physical issues that need to be addressed because meth will fuck you up physically and mentally. So that's something that I would want to do, like, because a lot of these people that I saw when there's still a few people over there where they call it Camp Hope, but there's not as many as there was before. But what we were noticing is you were seeing a lot of people who had mental disorders or other disabilities, who had become addicted to drugs because they wound up in the streets. Some of them did have Social Security, some of them did not. Um, and that was just really sad because they keep putting them in the rehab program, put them in there for like 6 weeks and kick them out. I don't know what they're doing. A lot of the people that were in that field were doing heroin and fentanyl. I don't think you can come off those. If you're truly addicted, I don't think you can come off of those in 6 weeks either. They're pretty wicked. Um, but I'd really like to be able to see if I can figure out how to do like some kind of program. I know there's programs here. I can probably talk to an existing program and see if we can like work with them to get something like that set up. But of course, I would need to have money to do either one of these ideas. I don't have money. And if on the rare chance that Cousin Billy does manage to find out that I'm thinking these things, he might step in. But again, as I've mentioned, we're not that closely related to Bill Gates. We pretty much just have bragging rights at this point. I don't have any rights of inheritance. At this point, I don't even know if he even knows me at this, who I am at this point. I do remember that his parents from a couple of events that I'd attended as a child. Um, but I don't remember actually meeting him. So I don't know if he actually knows who I am. I mean, my mom says that when I was a baby, she took me to their house and they forced him to hold us. Like my sister and I were twins. But he was just kind of like, ew, babies, and went back into the garage, which is consistent with my understanding of his personality. He was more interested in electronics than babies. So, but I don't know if that actually happened because half the shit my mom says didn't happen. Um, and we're still trying to figure out if some of it did or not. Because that's interesting. That's one of the reasons I'd want to do DNA testing, because I want to find out. Well, I don't feel like I fit in with either side of my family. I've got genetic traits that suggest that I am related, but nobody seems to want me around. I'm ostracized. I get told all these weird things. Like, one of the issues with knowing how I'm related to Bill Gates is that the people who know won't tell me. They tell me, oh, there's autistics in the family. Autism runs in the family. And I asked them, who has autism? Because I don't remember meeting anybody that has it. And they just said, oh, older people. You don't know. That's not an answer. Oh, that heart condition you have runs in the family. Um, you're lucky you didn't wind up with a whole tear or a hole, or forget how they worded it. Um, oh, who all has it? Oh, you know, it's not an answer. Um, but they'll talk to my sister at length. We're identical twins. So what the fuck is the problem? Are they thinking they're telling me when they're telling her? Or Is there something else going on that I'm completely unaware of? My mom did say that she wasn't my mother, and that's another thing that I'd wanted to find out, is if she actually is my mother. I've also been curious about the theory that mitochondrial malfunctions causes fibro, because I do have some of the health conditions that they think would lead to that being possible. I have metabolic disorder, and my immune system doesn't work properly because I was premature. And yes, that can cause a lot of problems. It can cause some of the other issues that are popping up with me, like the asthma and my brain just completely stopped working. So I'm gonna take the glasses off and clean them. Hopefully that will help. I know this one's getting a little long. I just didn't realize I was so rambly. My brain is just not functioning the way I want it to right now, and I think sleep deprivation is a big problem, because like I don't know what's wrong with them. They don't sleep. You gotta get up at 7 in the morning. Why are you still up at 4 a.m.? Come on, people. You don't bounce. You're not a rubber ball. Let's go. Go to bed. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't like living here. Um, the the one who's worse about it is Logan, the roommate. He's at risk of losing his job because he's treating people like crap, and part of the reason he's doing that is because he's not getting enough sleep. He's also eating the weirdest things and claiming that he needs to eat healthier for his heart, and then he goes and gets these like super greasy, disgusting pizzas. That's not good for your heart, buddy. That's not. And then he says my food is shit because I like to use like fresh vegetables, and I usually get frozen, but you know they're fresh. They're actually vegetables. You can tell what they are. Um, they're not so super processed that you can't tell that that used to be a tomato. Yeah, um, yeah, that's just it. And then if I try to mention that the grease is probably worse for him than what he's thinking, he starts screaming about salt. Or if I mention that the heart condition he has is probably genetic, he starts screaming about salt. And that's if he even has a heart condition, because I've twice caught him acting funny, and I'm suspicious that he may have been faking. Also, every time he does something cruel, he claims he'll either say he didn't do it, or he'll claim that he has ADHD, which it's not consistent. You do things on purpose, it's not ADHD. And also, most people I know who claim to have ADHD don't have ADHD. They have more significant mental health issue, and they would rather say that they have ADHD than that issue. I do, and I'm not saying that all cases of ADHD are fake. I'm just saying that I know a lot more people who are telling people that they have ADHD because they don't want to explain what they actually have than I've met people who actually have ADHD. So that's kind of that. I want to be in a house, a place where I can sleep, and where I don't feel like they're monitoring my health in order to figure out how to fake things, because he fakes being hearing impaired. He's not paying attention. That is an ADHD symptom, but it can also be a sign of other things like low IQ and mental health disorders. So I'm just trying to figure out why I don't want to be in a situation where this other person's problem becomes my problem because they don't want to deal with it. And that's what's going on now. It's not my problem that he's having whatever issue that he's having. I don't even know how to explain things to him so that he'll understand. Because, like I said, as soon as I start trying to tell him something, he starts screaming about salt or some dumb shit. I have a penis, or that kind of stuff. It's like, so you're a boy. Of course you have a penis. That's kind of what tells the world that you're a boy. I mean, that's how we gauge whether you're a boy or a girl when you're born. It's your your genitals. All boys have them. Well, I don't know about anymore, but I should say the whole trans thing just flips my head. I don't know how to deal with that at all. I try to be understanding and I try to be polite, and then there's something that'll happen and I just have no idea what they're fucking talking about, and they expect me to know and understand, and I don't. So I don't feel that way. I don't think that way. So it's a little hard for me to understand some of that transy stuff. And we're not trying to not be rude about things or dismissive, but keep in mind I have old lady brain, so it's really hard to adjust to things that seem like new concepts. And like when I was a kid, if you told somebody you were transgendered, you get beaten to death. So that scares me when people say that with around certain people because they're gonna try to beat them to death, and I don't I don't like it. But no, at the same time, I think that people should be able to talk about how they're feeling and what they're experiencing. They just need to understand that it's them. They're feeling this way. They're experiencing this. It's not the whole world. Um, that's the only issue I have with the trans community is that there's a lot of them that think that they feel this way, so everybody else does, and that's not how it works. I feel things that other people don't. I have opinions that other people don't. I see things that other people don't. I mean, like, I pick up on details that other people don't. So it's like there's just the way that you view the world is completely unique to you. That's why eyewitness testimony isn't very reliable. Because one person's perceptions can be very different than another, and it can be like really different from one person to the other, even in families. So it's it's just it's just I guess something people to be respectful that other people don't always think the way they do, or that they don't function the way that they do, and that I say things funny sometimes. So and then I feel bad, and then I start thinking, oh my God, there's all this stuff going on, and everything's changing, and and I might be pissing people off, but then at the same time, people get pissed over the dumbest things. So I try to like explain myself, and then I feel like I'm over explaining, and then I try to explain that, and then I don't know if that's PTSD or what, but I just feel like I'm spinning out. I'm trying not to spin out because I don't want to be bad. I just want to be living in a situation where I feel like I'm safe and I'm respected and I'm cared for and about as a human being and myself, and I'm not expecting to be somebody else. That's part of the reason why I stopped dating. Um, because I'd realized that all of my relationships had wanted me to turn into some other person so that they could do or feel or whatever what they wanted. And they weren't allowing me to have things that I needed, in some cases, even foods. Like I mentioned, I have a metabolic disorder and I have to eat very specifically or I get really sick. And that's one of the problems here at the house. They're constantly stealing my food. Well, Logan's constantly stealing my food. Man, dude makes $3,000 a month. He has to steal food that was bought off my food stamps card that was not intended for him. Yeah, that's welfare fraud, by the way. And that's also something that I can't deal with until I'm out of here. So I'm gonna try to get out of here. But I'm really close. I have the doctor's appointment. The therapist has a weird name. Um, I'm just going to assume that she's Muslim or from some other culture, um, because it's like a really weird name. Um, so yeah, I probably babbled on enough. It looks like I'm going on 34, 35 minutes. Oh, that's not good. But yeah, I'm trying to feel better. It's really nice to be able to actually talk to somebody and not feel like I'm judged or. And that's kind of the thing I want, because I know I want to build a community where we can be who we are, and even if we're being a little socially awkward or maybe even a little inappropriate, a little. I'm gonna say a little, because certain things will never be tolerated. Um, but like if you just say something that comes off rude, kind of thing, or you don't ask questions, because yeah, then we can just consider that as a brain malfunction and leave that alone. But if somebody is like, I will say that if somebody is actively um, doing things that are abusive or inappropriate, like sexually harassing a commenter, I will ban them, because that's I don't care. That's You could say that's part of your disability all you want, but honestly, with most disabilities, it's not. It's just you being a jerk and blaming it on your disability. So, yeah. I'm so I'm just trying to be like supportive, and I'm here, and I'm hoping that when I'm talking about the my situation and how negative it is, because it is really negative, I am working on getting out of here. It's very difficult, especially right now. But I am working on it. I am trying. And so I'm hoping that this will be able to help somebody who might be in the similar or the same position, or somebody else who's struggling with something that they can't figure out right away. Um, to know that, life can just be fucking hard, just fucking brutal, but you can get through it, and does get better. And I'm hoping that I can figure out how to get into a better situation before the situation gets me. Um, and it looks like I am. Even though the roommate is really not happy right now. Um, but and he seems to be taking it out on me, because John's older sister, well, he's got two older sisters. The younger of his older sister has had a lot of life changes right now, and they're mostly positive. Um, she got married. She got into classes. She got her beginner degree. They're moving to Olympia so that she can finish her degree. So I think they're already there. When they were going through their stuff, they realized that they needed a new car, and there was a bunch of stuff they didn't want to take with them. Um, so what wound up with us being able to get a few things, like I got a box of yarn and a mattress, and Josh and I got shelving. There's a coffee table. There's a recliner chair. That were just the coffee table and the recliner chair for the house. The shelving units were specifically for John and Shania. Um, I did mention uses other than what they thought if they don't work for what they thought, because the one that was intended for Shania would be great for my shop, and the one that was intended for John would probably be good for the kitchen. Because we need to figure out, we have too many pots and pans and they don't really fit in the area where we have them because they fall over. But if we had like a shelving unit, we could put them on there, and so we could kind of have it more sorted and you could actually physically see what's there. And then maybe we could put the lids in the drawer and maybe something else in that big open, because for some reason there's this like huge open cabinet. That's what they just kind of piled up the dishes in there, and no matter what you do, you take one pan out and it's just a nightmare. Um, so yeah, and then the thing that really made Logan upset, other than me receiving things, was that John got the car. John got the old car. And then Logan's mom told him she was going to move to Seattle and he's going to get one of her cars, or some cars she has on her property. Um, and then now she's not moving to Seattle. She's just trying to one up everybody or trying to be like everybody, which is annoying. Be yourself. Don't be everybody else. Be you. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with the roommate right now. For some reason, he seems to be taking that out on me. I don't know. He should be screaming at his mother. He should be blaming his mother. He should be telling her to grow up. He should be telling her that it's her problem. Huh, that was interesting. I wonder if the car went by and changed the reflection. I didn't really see what that was. If you guys think it's a ghost, let me know. It's probably a car going by and changed the light. It's the sun is hitting funny and it's like reflecting off stuff. So I think that's probably what it was. But I have noticed a few interesting things um happening. We do think that the house is haunted, but it doesn't seem to be anything to worry about. It is an older house, and that happens. Sometimes you get like residual energies, I guess would be a good way of putting it, or maybe somebody just doesn't realize they're dead and they just kind of hang out. That's really what it feels like. It's not like they're not like banging the pots and throwing things across the room and screaming in the middle of the night. That's the roommate does. Um, um, yeah, and So yeah, this is getting long, so I should probably take off. I don't usually do them this long. I just kind of like had a lot on my mind, and I just kind of guess it just kind of all came out. But yeah, I'm glad I made a friend on here. It seems like the community thing I'm trying to do is starting to work. I know it can be hard, especially when you're not doing video game walkthroughs, but my son does video game walkthroughs and it's hard for him to get people to watch because there's so many other more established people who were doing video game walkthroughs. So, yeah, but I'm really hoping that maybe even if I can't directly help somebody, that I can be able to be supportive and maybe help them to understand they're not, at the very least, help them to understand that they're not alone. That there are a lot of other people out there that are going through the same things or something similar, and that it is hard sometimes, but you'll get through it, hopefully. But you gotta start doing things. The minute you realize you're in danger or you might be in danger, you gotta start doing things. You gotta move on that. So, let's see if we can make my little weird community grow but and what am I thinking? Okay. Yeah, hopefully I'll get more sleep because when I do get sleep deprived, I don't do very well. It takes a long time to recover for some reason. It's probably the fibro. Um yeah, so I guess I should say goodbye and hopefully you guys have a great day and that everybody's life gets better. It looks like mine's heading towards better. Um it looks like my brain stopped working. So I'll just pop off and I'll just take that as a cue that it's time to go. Like I said, if you guys think that was a little ghost, that weird little flash that was there a minute, then let me know. But I think it was probably just the car driving by and the light was reflecting funny. And also there was a 7.3 in Alaska that with a volcanic eruption, so it could be some of the weird stuff that I've been noticing could be my brain reacting to microquakes or earthquakes that are close enough for the energies of it to get to me because all these faults are connected. Um, we got the Cascadia, can't remember what it's fully called, that's in the water just right outside of Washington. If that lets go, and that's the earthquake was right on the tip of that, if that lets go, everything's gonna get fucked. Seattle's going to be non-existent. Everything's going to just be gone. But we don't know when it's going to happen because, geological soon could be hundreds, if not thousands of years because geological closeness is also huge. So that's just, we don't know what's going to happen. So and then the Ring of Fire has definitely been active. I live in the Ring of Fire, so I have to be aware that there are dangers. um, but yeah, so some of the stuff I'm noticing could be earthquakes because I do notice that I see little weird things, little white specters. Usually it's very distinctive imagery, but sometimes it's just some floaty thing. So that could be what it was, is it messes with my head a little bit. I don't know why that happens, but yeah, but if you guys do think that was a ghost, you can tell me what you think you saw, because I didn't really see it. It was just like a flash behind me. Because I do find it interesting. The supernatural stuff is very interesting. Proving it or not proving it is really hard. But it's interesting. I'm gonna pop off. I should have popped off like 2 chats ago, but I'm like, my brain just wants to talk to people. I don't know, I get a little social interaction and my brain's just like, all the time. But no, you can't do that. But yeah, I'll come back and I'll be like, I'll do another video when I can. I just don't always have specific times or specific days when I can do it because, as I've mentioned, there are problems with the roommates. Hopefully if I can figure out how to get out of here, then I can get into a situation where I can be more consistent and I can actually have specific dates and times and maybe even multiple updates, especially as I get more subscribers. So yeah, I'm gonna pop off here because this is getting really long for me. I don't normally go this long. I guess I just had a lot to say. I'm gonna pop off and hope you guys all have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.